Hey, sixth graders, I'm so glad to talk to you again. I just wish I could see your face. So, we are going to dive into the very last stanza today. I've already talked to you about the first three. I'm going to reread the poem because that is what I do every single time I am talking about what I'm reading. I always go back and reread the entire thing just to make sure I get a better, deeper understanding than the time before. Okay, but first, I wanted to show you some pictures that I have received. Let me see if I can get them for you. Here we go. So this is from Hayden Killian. Way to go, Hayden. So he sent me three pictures, and I really liked this one because this fits the stanza that talks about wanted where. So if we go back to wanting where, can you find it? Oh, yep, stanza 2, and it's line 3 because it was grassy and wanted where. And do you see how that picture shows they're both paths. They're both lay about equally the same, and they are both wanting for where because they really haven't been traveled down as much to make the grass lay down. So that would be wanting where, and they are headed into some woods. Here's another picture that he has, and I like how this bends underneath the undergrowth. So do you see the bushes right here? Just like Torrens the other day, and Josh Wade had a very good one on the wanting where as well. But this one shows that undergrowth. So, and can you see how it kind of bends down into the undergrowth? So you can't really see far off. Very, very good picture to show that metaphor of the two roads diverging into the wood. So nice job, Hayden Killian. All right. I have seen some really good pictures. Nice job, guys. So let's go to the very last stanza. Remember, we are focusing on imagery. We are focusing on point of view. And today you'll be working on setting, which you think, oh, well, that's easy because you know the when and the where. But I want you to think a little deeper of what that when and where might mean in life when it's compared to life. So that metaphor. Let's go to the very last stanza. I shall be telling this with a sigh. Sigh is a positive or negative connotation when someone sighs, usually a negative pull, emotional pull. That's what connotation means. So it's got a negative pull. So I shall be telling this with a sigh. So if I gave that type of a tone, some were ages and ages hence. Okay, so he's telling this in a sorrowful manner that he's just kind of sad. It doesn't have to be truly sad that he's crying, but he's just got a little sigh going on. And somewhere ages and ages. Well, that is showing how far down the road he's talking about. So somewhere far off. And if you see the word hence has two definitions as a consequence for this reason. Well, if I were to say somewhere ages and ages as a consequence for this reason, well, that doesn't fit as well as the second one. So somewhere ages and ages in the future. Okay, that's what hence would mean here. Remember, we have multiple meanings, and hence means in the future in this part of the stanza. So I shall be telling this with a sorrowful sigh, just a little sad, somewhere ages and ages in the future. That two roads, he goes back, he repeats it. Do you see that? So two roads diverged in a wood, and do you see this right here? He pauses for a second. So he says, two roads diverge in a wood, and with a sigh, I took the one less traveled by. Now, this doesn't mean that he's sorry that he took the one less traveled by, and the last line shows us that. But what it does show us is that he's really thinking about the two choices he had to make. I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. Now, if you remember that Robert Frost wrote this because his friend just could not make a decision, well, this shows that he finally made a decision. After 3 stanzas, he's in the 4th stanza, so time went by, finally made this decision, and he says, this has made all the difference. What he's saying there is just that finally making decisions can actually make a difference in my life. He doesn't say this in a positive manner. He doesn't say it in a negative manner. It's almost like as a neutral here. What he is sad about, the sigh, is that he couldn't take both roads, and he proves that in stanza 3 where he says, I kept the first for another day. Yet knowing how way leads to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. Almost, I doubted if I would ever be able to come back. So in the very last stanza, when he says, I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference, it could be a positive thing that he's saying, it's made all the difference that I took this road that was less traveled by, because I was able to see things that other people weren't. I was able to take other paths that other people didn't. But it could also mean that I took the one less traveled by, and it's made the difference that I actually made the decision and took the one less traveled by, and I went. Do you ever have that friend who just can't make a decision? And so we said this yesterday, and so they just don't, and you have to make the decisions for them? Well, isn't it different when you make the decision for yourself? So that is what he's saying there, and that has made all the difference. It's a good thing. He's actually made a decision, so we do have a positive connotation on it has made all the difference. That positive emotion, it made the difference in my life to actually make the decision and follow through with it. And I know that following through with that decision will lead me to other choices I have to make and making those choices. So I hope that helps you with the poem. And I want to take you through Tuesday's imagery. So the question was, what does one less traveled by mean here? Well, one less traveled by, many of you were right. I think everyone got that right, was that just not many people have taken that. Okay. Was grassy and wanted where? Well, that's personification, isn't it? Because grass, or a path, can't really make the decision of wanting something, because it's not a human that can actually make those decisions. So was grassy and wanted where? Well, it's wanting to be walked on. The wood. Now, the wood could be your future. That could be the metaphor, because in stanza 4, some were ages and ages hence, two roads diverged in a wood. So somewhere far off in my own future, the wood could be my future that I just can't see everything, because woods are really dense, right? And it bent in the undergrowth, so you can't see what's there. So it could be the far off future. And yellow could be pertaining to the same wood. So it's a yellow wood. So yellow would be a season in life, just like the fall is a far off season. So that might be what I have said here. And hopefully that helps you with Tuesday's imagery. On Wednesday, yesterday, you had to look at point of view, and you had a chart, and we've used that chart several times. So hopefully you were able to use that chart to help you figure out what point of view. Some of you may have not needed it because you already know that I, me, myself, and my would be first person point of view. And throughout the poem, that's all he uses. So we definitely know this is a first person point of view, but what words show you, I would say I, because all of the way through he uses the word I. And so that's what I would place in this text box. Then I would follow the chart and write down first person point of view, because the very first box, if you were to follow it down, said, yes, first person point of view. Why would an author want to use this point of view? Well, I know that if I am writing something that happened to me, myself, and I, then I would have more emotions inside. I would have more thoughts, and it would be a deeper type of emotion. I would have either a deeper negative connotation or a deeper positive connotation in what I'm saying. And my tone might be stronger because I feel it. And so I can't feel another person's thoughts. So if I write about them and tell them, I can only see the actions and emotions they tell me. But if I'm writing it myself, I can get deeper because I can tell you everything I feel. Okay? So that's why an author might use first person point of view, to get those stronger emotions through. How does this point of view give meaning to the poem? Well, I see that in the poem. If I go back, I see that he says, and sorry I couldn't travel both. If I'm just looking at someone else and watching them, I can't tell if they're sorry or not that they couldn't travel both unless they said it. But me, I could say, I'm sorry I couldn't travel both, and give more tone to that, and looked down one as far as I could. So he's actually writing down what he's thinking, because he's not saying it out loud. He's writing down what he's thinking. And let's go on down to the last one, because that's where we see stanza 3, last line. I doubted if I should ever come back. He's saying, I'm just not sure if I take this road and go all the way down, if I'm ever coming back from that. I shall be telling this with a sigh. This shows that emotion, that he's a little sorry that he made the decision far off in his life, that he took the road less traveled by, and that has made all the difference for him. Okay, so we see more negative. So when I go down to how does this point of view give meaning to the poem, I can see these two belong together. So if you wrote almost the same answer, that wouldn't be wrong. Okay, this point of view gives more meaning to the poem because I see the actions, I see the feelings, and I see the thoughts of that one person. And I'm able to see the choice that he made and what difference it may have made in his life. Now, if I were to give specific examples, and this is the one I see most of you missing, and I hope you're still here with me. Okay, so I have to find the lines that have to go with I. So I'm looking for each line, and sorry, I could not travel both. I would have written that one down because it shows the emotion. It shows that first person point of view. Long I stood would be another example. So that tells me that he's standing there for a very long time, and that gives meaning to the poem. Okay, because that means that he's not making this choice easily. He's having a hard time making the choice. And looked down as far as I could. So he's looking as far as he could. So I might write that, but I see long I stood as a better first person point of view, showing that strong emotion. And then I would go on down later, and some of you said this, I shall be saying with a sigh. I would have written that one. And two roads diverged in a wood, and I, showing that he himself finally made that decision. Okay, so that helps you with point of view, but specific. I want you to cite those. I want you to use quotation marks. Don't forget that. I know you guys know this, so please write that down. Now we'll go into today, which is Thursday, and we're looking at setting. Remember, setting in a piece of literature is the time and the place that the story actually takes place. It gives definition to our setting because if it's in the far off future, well, it's going to look a little different. Well, let's look here. What words show you the setting of the poem? And you're going to write them to the right. So you're going to go back to the poem and find every, not just one, not just two, you're looking for every part, every single line. You're looking for something in the setting. So I'll give you one, yellow wood. That tells me a where. I know it's the woods, I'm not for sure, but yellow does tell me, and I showed you the other day some pictures of trees that we don't have around here. So it might be more in the north, okay, where we might find these trees, okay? We know that he's alone. Isn't that part of a setting? Part of the characters, the where and the when, that exposition. One traveler, okay, so that's something I need to know. And undergrowth. Undergrowth would be a part of a setting. So there's that very first stanza. You're going to go through every single line and tell me exactly the setting, okay? Don't just give me one or two answers to make it quick. Really think about these because this is going to help you on your writing prompt tomorrow. Tomorrow you have a writing prompt and you will have to use these graphic organizers. If you don't do well on these, you won't do well on your writing prompt. What mood? Well, yellow wood, fall, sigh. I'm going to say he's a little sorrowful, okay? But yellow wood, what kind of mood? Some of you said calm. I think Bryson Floyd, nice job. You said calm, and I would agree with you. I think it's a calm time. Even though he's trying to make this choice, it's still calm for him. Okay, nice job. What time of day is it? Well, if you can see the wood, it's got to be in the daylight at some point, but maybe look for places that you might find if it's morning or night. And I'm not seeing a whole lot, but I do see that he can see. So it's got to be during the day. It doesn't say he has a flashlight, and that might help us. It doesn't say there's morning dew, so I can't say that it's, oh, wait a minute. Morning. There you go. Does that help? Okay, but do you see how I brainstormed through? What season is this setting? Yellow wood. Think about that. Leaves on the road. Did you write that for part of your setting? Because it says in leaves. Well, that's got to tell you a season, right? Okay. Now, where is the character in the poem? That should be easy for you. I'm not going to answer that for you. Is the character alone? But if so, my question is why is he writing about himself being alone? Think about what he's trying to do right now. And when we make a major decision, how do we feel sometimes? I'm hoping that helps you guys with Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday for point of view, setting, and imagery. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate. Call me, email me, or text me. Several of you have, and hopefully I've gotten back to you as soon as you texted me. Sometimes I'm on the phone with someone else, so I can't. But just wait and I will get back to you, okay? Guys, have a wonderful Thursday. Enjoy it. But don't forget to do your work for Mrs. Locke. Don't forget to send everything in. Love you.